What's the difference between a Democrat, a Republican, and a gangster? The gangster tells you where they stand. The politicians don't. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, May the 7th. As we fly by this year and the times continue and markets continue to remarkably hold up with a bunch of bullshit lies that we get from our current administration. And as I said in the opening, what is the difference between a Republican, a Democrat, and a gangster? The gangsters tell you where you stand. The Republicans are trying to fuck you. Okay, the Democrats and Republicans are trying to stick it to you in every way they can, including the new debt ceiling debate, which is going on. And of course, they probably will come to an agreement as always, because of course, if they don't get paid. And let's be honest, the politicians are not on our side. Okay, they are there to stick us. Okay, they are there to take it for themselves. Okay, have you not noticed the destruction of this country? Okay, as we become more and more a part of communism or Marxism or socialism. Okay, the social media has destroyed the pure body of this country with the bullying and the things that go on and the ability to create these hate groups. And again, you can blame Donald Trump for all the hate groups you want, but I have never in my 66 years seen this much hatred in this country. And Donald Trump is not president as far as I know. Okay. You saw on Friday, you had another bullshit jobs number. You know, the way that we report numbers in this country is getting to be epidemic, getting to be ridiculous. You use a number system that benefits your side. You know, the workers in this country are suffering dramatically. Their paychecks are not keeping up with the rate of inflation. And of course, that's a bullshit inflation number that we're seeing reported. Okay, there's no way in this country, in this world, that 6% is the inflation number. And it's only going to get worse, as we've seen by the Federal Reserve continue to hike rates into a recession. We continue to see the government spend like drunken sailors. So let's hope that the Republicans have enough balls to shut down the government, okay? And maybe we can finally clean house and get rid of all this shit that's in there, okay? And I don't care what party you support. They're all shit. They are all freaking criminals, okay? I don't know one that isn't reaching their hands in my pocket, okay? And of course, that brings us to the WHO. They finally declared the global health emergency, COVID, over. It was never that big of a problem to begin with. Again, you can report numbers any way that you want, okay? And you can make them look like you want. But I told you, and I said here, I stood here since the day COVID started and told you the statistics did not bear out the bullshit that we were getting from our government. So not only were they able to systematically destroy small business, which really is a disadvantage to the average American, they were able to create millions and billions of dollars of profit for the drug companies once again. And again, if you don't think there's a connection between the big pharma, big oil, and government, you better think again, because they are systematically destroying a small business, which destroys competition, which destroys your purchasing power. The Fed is a bunch of morons that have lost total control and are totally clueless. Or the question is, are they not clueless? Are they just intentionally ripping off Americans? Now, the central banking system across the globe has been a subject of a lot of talk over the years. You've all heard Ron Paul and the Fed and so on. And if you go back to the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913 at Jekyll Island, just look at the people that designed it, that convinced the government to okay a Federal Reserve, although it's a private corporation. The Rothschilds, oh boy, what a great family that is. Warburg, J.P. Morgan, and Rockefeller. Not one has your interest at heart. They want to continue to destroy and build their own wealth. Okay, year over year we've got five negative quarters of production. Okay, that has never happened before. Yet the markets managed to hold up. Again, we don't predict what markets are. Obviously, in our market report, I will give you our positions and where we stand and what the trends are. But again, you can continue to see that we have issues. And of course, one of the biggest issues, if you're a sports fan, we've all heard the analogy of, that the coach, the owner will go to the coach and say, "You're doing a great job. You get my vote of confidence." And of course, 3 days later, he gets fired. Well, of course, the Fed says the banking system is safe and sound. Okay. And, again, if you believe that the banking system is safe and sound, you might want to go see a doctor. You may want to go have your frickin' head examined, because the banking system is as bad as it was in '08. There is no way that they would be able to pass a realistic stress test, okay? And of course, why don't we get a true audit of the Federal Reserve? This is another problem that continues to arise when you allow big banks to rule the roost, and you do not let them go out of business if they decide to overspend, overlend, and put themselves in jeopardy. Because, of course, they have you and me, the American taxpayer, to pay off their bullshit, stupid-ass debts that they could care less about you. But they know that you're going to pay it off for them, okay, in the form of taxes. So not only do we have inflation, which is taxation without representation, but we have the risk that we're going to have to bail out the banks once again. Okay, and of course, when we look at what's going on in this country with law and order, now I don't know about you, but I'm a law and order guy. Not the TV show. In my city, in my state, I want law and order. I want law and order across the United States, because I'm getting sick and tired of watching people walk on serious crimes. I'm getting sick and tired of the criminals voting in the people that they want to be in office. Okay, and in the meantime, you've lost more police over the last year than in the history of this country. Okay, the resignations are coming in mass. Okay, and this is by design to allow us to open up the borders. And you all have heard about the prop that was tied to the vaccine that opens up the borders. I believe it's a week from Tuesday, that there basically is no border. Now, I don't know about you, but I believe that people they want to come to this country. I have no problem with that. But you want to come in legally the way that you're supposed to. Because we know that we're importing new criminals along with some very good people. But again, should there not be a vetting process? Okay, we spend so much money. We just hired 87,000 IRS agents. Why not hire 87,000 border control people to actually vet these people properly? Okay, again, I don't like illegal immigration. I don't want them here, because all they do is cost you and me money. We pay for the privilege of them coming into this country illegally. Is that what you want? Is that the country that you want to be a part of? Okay, we are not the same powerhouse we were at one time, and we are getting worse. And the USA, although still the greatest country in the world, is narrowing the gap backwards. We shouldn't be falling down to the rest of the world. We should be rising above, bringing the world with us. But of course, look at the shit you got running this country right now. You got an Alzheimer's imbecile president, followed by a bunch of haters, part of the squad, and then you've got the criminals on the other side of the aisle. Well, certainly you got problems. Okay, the very fabric of the great nation is so torn. I don't know that we can ever get it really repaired. I am concerned not for me. I'll be dead. But I'm concerned for your children, for my children, for grandchildren, and for where this country is going to be 50 years from now. And at the current pace, 50 years from now, they may just as well call us the USA of China, because that's where we are headed because of the lack of leadership and the phony bullshit we get from climate change to whatever we get. Because at the end of the day, if you're a believer in climate change, I have no problem. I don't begrudge you for believing in it. But don't you believe that there should be a plan by this administration, this government, to tell us how they're going to get us there, instead of just making us pay ridiculous amounts of taxes, okay, to make a promise that yet any president in my history has yet to keep, which is fixing the infrastructure of this country. So, unfortunately, not a great report, because we are being controlled by those who tell us that they are helping us, but in the meantime, sticking the knife in your back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, May the 7th. And of course, we'll stop out here for a break, and we'll be back with our market report right after the break. What's up, kids? Well, it is Sunday. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. And of course, as you know, I talk about who sponsors the show. And, again, basically our partners are brokerage partners. Now, I have many brokers, but the two that I vetted everybody. The two that I use myself, okay, along with others, but my number one choice for futures and commodities is Capital Trading Group. And why Capital Trading Group? Listen, they got the best customer service in the business. You got a problem, they answer the phone. You don't have to go through voicemail, okay? Check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. It's also scrolling on the side if you don't see it. I went too fast, which is very common for me. In the meantime, remember, one other thing I want to tell everybody, if you trade both futures and equities, you should have a separate futures broker and an equity broker, because one is accommodating something that they're not proficient at. In the meantime, our other brokerage partner is Trade Your Brokerage, and that's for equities and options. And first big thing is $10 a month. I mean, it saves me over $100,000 a year in commission. Okay, they have the ability to automate our equity portfolio model at no cost to you, because that's part of your membership. And of course, if you want to be a hedger, we can automate your hedging with the licensing fee for our hedging software. Check them out, try.trader.com/Bubba. Again, scrolling on the side. And of course, our high school program, which we're trying desperately to get taught. Of course, what does it tell you when your unions, your teachers, and your politicians don't want you teaching people something that is of value? Okay, that's, I think, something that we should all take heed from. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horowitz. Let's get back to our market report and more of Bubba's Bottom Line. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horowitz. And of course, it is Sunday, May the 7th, and interesting week as the markets looked like they were under pressure early in the week, came back late. We had the Fed, we had ISM manufacturing. The Fed raised, which was no surprise. We had a jobs number, which blew the doors off, I guess. But again, I don't buy it. I mean, again, it's very simple math. If you're making $50,000 a year on your full-time job and getting benefits, you have a job that equates to about a $70,000 a year job. If you're working part-time and it takes you 2 or 3 jobs to get to that $50,000 a year, you are not only not making $70,000, you are not making $50,000, because if you have to pay for your own benefits, you're making $30,000. But of course, that is the new getaway for corporations to not pay for your health insurance or not help participate in your health insurance. In the meantime, as we look at the equities, we are still long the NASDAQ, which continues to go higher, and short the other three. There's been a little bit of a whipsaw for us in trend trading, because they go just far enough to trigger a reversal, and that's what is known as wide sweeping consolidation, which we are still, unfortunately, very much a part of here right now. And of course, as we look at some of the other markets, the crude oil market looks like it bottomed on Wednesday night, when we had a big crush down to about $60-some, and then it came all the way back. We're back in the 70s. Now, we're still short crude, okay, but I do think that we might have seen, actually, the bottoms. Okay, natural gas We are short as well. Now again, natural gas is tricky, but we'll continue to manage and follow. And of course, we're still short copper, okay, which continues to really churn in a range. Again, we haven't really had any real markets that have really gone anywhere. The dollar, which we no longer trade, is hovering down near lows again as the euro currency continues to push higher. And of course, we are still long the euro currency. Bitcoin is pushing up against 30,000. We are still short Bitcoin. Bonds we're short and they got clobbered. Notes were long and they were a little bit lower. But again, that's just telling us that interest rates are going higher. Okay. Again, I don't know how much more easily I can state that interest rates are not going down, and whatever nonsense you hear about cuts is all bullshit. Okay. In the precious metals, gold, which we are short, we reversed gold on Friday. Gold, which we're long now again, and silver and platinum. Now, we don't trade platinum because it's not liquid enough, but we'd be long them all. And they look pretty solid. I do see gold making new highs. I do see silver getting in the mid-30s, and platinum, I think, is getting ready to make a big charge. And of course, in the grain markets, we're going to be long wheat tonight or tomorrow. That's up to you. We're going to reverse wheat. We're still going to be short corn and short soybeans. My guess is they're all going to change. The commodity space itself looked like it had a major reversal or turnaround, as last week saw some heavy selling early, and then we started to see a big spark up. So I do think you're going to see probably a fairly significant change coming, and I still believe there's a big market coming in commodities, and in the protein complex. We don't trade them anymore, but we would be long cattle, short hogs. Now, just full disclosure, I took a shot. I bought some hogs late Friday, kind of where they closed off at. I do think it's a pretty good high probability gamble, which again, I don't recommend gambling, but I thought it was a pretty good play. So in the meantime, we would be short and we were trading them. The softs, cocoa, we remain long. Sugar, we remain short. And cotton, we remain short. Coffee, we remain short. And OJ, we are now short. So again, you're seeing, but I do expect, especially based on the action we saw on Friday, I expect a lot of these commodities to be long. If I could predict the future 2 months from now, I would say we'd be long all the commodities and short all the equities. Okay, now again, I'm not playing it that way. I'm going to play it just the way I'm supposed to. But that, if I were to forecast to you what I think, that's how I think it's going to play out. I think that we're in for 10% mortgages. I think we're in for a lot of danger. Okay, we've got some real problems in this country, and they're not going away. As much as you'd like to keep your head in the sand, they are not going away. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, May the 7th. Let us step out for our final break and come back with, of course, my commentary and a couple of sports selections if you'd like them. Well, kids, again, I'm not going to go through the whole process, but remember, we've got two brokerage partners. I have many brokers, but we've got two brokerage partners. Trade Your Brokerage for equities and options, $10 a month. This is a capital trading group for futures and commodities, greatest customer service, fairly priced, partners with us on Day Trader's Dream. Check them both out on the side and on their websites. Check them out. There's no cost. Check them out and see what you think. On the bottom, our high school program, which we're trying our last-ditch effort to get it operational and to get these teachers to get off their ass. In the meantime, let's get to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. This is Todd Bubba Horowitz, and, of course, it is Sunday, May the 7th, and as you know, every week I give you a little bit of commentary and a little bit of what I'm thinking, and I got to tell you, it is becoming increasingly more disappointing to watch our politicians, to watch them fret over the debt ceiling. And I want to know, for the Republicans out there, do you have the balls to shut down this government? Okay? Or are you worried about the votes you might lose because you shut it down? You see, at some point, somebody has to step up and say, enough. Now, you and I, if we lived our budget like the government does with their budget, we would be in bankruptcy court or jail. So when are you going to have the balls to step up and quit spending taxpayer money that we don't have, creating this artificial inflation that is destroying the very fabric of this country. Okay, not let alone your policies that you allow, from the defunding the police to creating the most amount of hatred that I've ever seen in my life. So who's going to have the balls to step up and stop the crap? This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Of course, if you are looking for some sports prognostication, all right, today we like the Philadelphia 76ers on the money line against the Boston Celtics, and we like the Denver Nuggets against the Phoenix Suns on the money line, and we will be playing a money line, and a parlay of the two. Have a great weekend, everybody. As always, I appreciate you being here. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba, which you'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update, and of course, next week with Bubba's Bottom Line.